Am I tripping right now? The big question is it freaky? Is it scary to be in a car that's being driven for you? Hello everyone and welcome to Los Angeles, more specifically the Warner Brothers studio in Burbank. We're at a Tesla event, big Tesla event, those don't come around very often. And all we really know is it's called We Robot. Tesla doesn't do media previews, it doesn't hand out materials ahead of the embargo. It just sends Elon Musk out on stage, pulls the pin and sees what happens. So what do we know? Well, we know that we're going to see today some sort of autonomous taxi. It's either going to be called Robotaxi, maybe Cybercab. Think about an Uber, just without the driver and without the steering wheel. And it's a massively significant moment for Tesla because Elon's been promising us autonomous cars for years and years and years. And today is the day of judgment. But we got some big questions. Is it going to be styled up to look like a kind of pod version of the Cybertruck, or is it just going to be a Model 3 without a wheel? Is it going to work? Is it going to be legal? Are they going to give us a go in it? Are all those Model 3s and Model Ys with the optional full self-driving thing, are they magically going to start driving themselves around? I highly doubt it, but you never know. All right, so we're down here in the Tesla mosh pit. I'm going to call it the mosh pit. The stage is just over there, so we're trying to position ourselves to actually get a good look at things. I've noticed I've got a slightly different flashing dog collar on to everyone else. They've all got green ones. I think that means they're owners. These are the crazy ones that are going to start shouting, "Save us, Elon! Save us, Elon!" They go completely mad. You've heard about the cult of Tesla. This is it. It's happening right here. We're going to get involved. I might get beaten up because I got a different colour, but we're just going to see what happens. 5 minutes.
There's 168 hours in the week, and like I said, only 10 of them are used for driving. So, and then a bunch of those hours are looking for a parking spot, which is, could be pretty annoying at times. I think we'll see autonomous cars become 10 times safer than a human. Oh, and also, what happens if you need a vehicle that is bigger than a
Yeah. See what we mean by cult?
All right, so Elon has finished talking up on stage. There was quite a lot to take in. This thing rolling up behind me here. So this is it, this is the Robotaxi, this is the Cybercab. Big Volkswagen XL1 vibes going on here. Full self-driving, no pedals, no steering wheel. They're gonna put these into production, they're gonna deliver them in 2026. And you're gonna be able to buy one for like $30,000. Before that though, next year, California and Texas, they're gonna unlock full self-driving on the Model 3s and the Model Ys, as I was talking about in that intro. So it is happening, and these are what the cars, well, they're gonna come around the corner in a minute. We're queuing up because we're gonna go for a ride in it. Apparently it's pretty freaky getting in a car where there's no wheel or pedals. These are all the VVIPs, we're a level below them. But the orange lanyard is doing us proud. We're gonna get in one of these. They've got 20 of them, I think, and then they got a ton of 30 or 40 Model 3s and Model Ys running around autonomously. Sorry, that was a bit breathless, but there's a lot going on. Is that our one? Maybe that one. Maybe that one. Fancy one in silver? Silver, yeah, we'll go with silver. I mean, that is, I think Volkswagen's lawyers might be on the phone about the XL1. All right, here we go. We got ourselves a Cybercab. So the big screen says buckle seatbelt. Apparently if I click this in, my door will close automatically. That's happening. Loads of space in here. Big, wide, comfy seats. There is nothing sporty about this. It's like one of those pleather couches that you get in Airbnbs. Right, now look at the screen. Flip around and look at this. So we've got different areas. We're gonna go, where do we wanna go? Metropolis? Start right. Here we go. The weird thing is, when we've been looking at them for 15, 20 minutes driving around with other people in them, not us, they're teeny tiny footprints on the road, really like narrow and short. And as I said, VW XL1 vibes. When you get in, because there's no dash or center console or steering wheel or anything like that, it feels super spacious. I've got my window open for some reason. How do I close my window? The big question is it freaky? Is it scary to be in a car that's being driven for you? And I don't know whether we've just been conditioned by, you know, all our radar cruise controls and lane keep assist and all these bits and bobs that keep us on the straight and narrow these days and are really quite annoying. But this doesn't feel that weird. I feel like totally at ease with this. Admittedly, we're going at, you know, 10, 15 miles an hour tops around Warner Brothers Studios, not 70 miles an hour on the motorway or 40 around town or something like that. But it feels quite safe. The car definitely feels super cautious, the way it like picks its way around corners. It can see up ahead, there's another car stopped, there's a load of people over here waiting for a ride, and it's just like, I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing. It doesn't feel like that much of a leap from what Model 3s and Model Ys can actually do. They've just packaged it up in a shiny silver, futuristic, narrow looking autonomous cab. I think Elon said when he was talking on stage, the future should look like the future. And it does look like the future, this Cybercab. It doesn't look very expensive. If you look at the wheels, we'll get a close-up of the wheels. Big sort of moon-dish alloys, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of those. And then they've just painted a silver stripe around the tyre to make them look even bigger than they are. Clearly, these are prototypes, not the finished thing. That's coming in 2026, although when Elon said they're coming in 2026, he did go, I am prone to exaggerating a little on timeline, so at least he's realised that he's a bull. But look, fair play, there's 20 of these things running around. They've gone to town on actually making these work. Right, here we are, this is a little interesting junction here. We're around the back of the lot, we've pulled up to this line, and we're away. As I said, it's just like a slow, safe, cautious driver, like your grandmother driving you to the supermarket. Right, so the door opens automatically, you get out, look, notice these seats. Super flat, super loungy, very comfortable and very reclined. Look at that. I could have a proper snooze in here. Jump out. All right, so we've done our ride in the Cybercab. Couple more facts for you that are really interesting. Elon Musk said this thing doesn't have a plug. It deals with induction charging, much like most of us do with our iPhones these days. So you don't even have to plug it in, you just have to drive it over the charger. He also talked about how much safer it is than a normal car because, well, it can see in all directions at one time. It doesn't get tired. He talked about it being 5 or 10 times safer than a human driver. And he had this lovely analogy where he was like, in the future, they're going to make these in huge numbers, costing from under $30,000, apparently. We've heard that before. So imagine you're an Uber driver today. Instead of buying or renting your Toyota Prius and then earning your money that way, what you'll do is accumulate a fleet of these and just manage them and run them. And he said, a bit like a shepherd and his little flock of sheep. You'll be an Uber driver with your flock of Cybercabs. Anyway. This, believe it or not, isn't the only thing here. There's two other things that we need to go and see. One is called the Robovan, which is basically this enormous pod that can fit 20 people in. It's for carrying loads of people or goods around cities, so we're going to check that out. And the other thing is the Optimus robot, which he says is going to be the biggest product in the world, bigger than any of the cars he's produced, because apparently who doesn't want an Optimus buddy, and he said there's an 80% chance of it going well, and a 20% chance, therefore, of them taking over the world and killing us puny humans. But apparently they're making us drinks tonight, and I'm a little bit thirsty. Let's go. Sorry about the loud music, but the DJ's literally over there. This is what Elon called the Robovan, but actually he said it weirdly. I think he called it the Robovan. The Robovan, and then he went, oh, you could call it the Robovan. I think that might be an Elon joke. Anyway, look, you can see what it is. It's this crazy autonomous pod, seating for 20 people in here.
In, I had to say hi.
Hey, here he is. How are you, man?
Good to see you.
So look, we're standing next to what Elon was calling it, the Robovan, right? Is that his joke? Right?
Yeah,
it's a
Robovan.
Robovan. All right. So, and he was like, we're going to make it. It's going to look like this, and you're going to see this crazy kind of. It's almost like an Airstream kind of pod, like really? When are we going to see this?
We need to move into the future a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, I tell you, it's a lot nicer than the local bus in South
That's the
London.
idea.
That's like
When you're inside, it's like an amazing experience. There's plenty of room. The seats are comfortable, and you can hire it as for a family, or all that can carry goods and services.
family trip. Our minibus is outside.
camping,
Our Robovan's here. But let's talk about the Cyber. Is it the Cybercab? Is it the Robotaxi? It's both.
Yeah.
I like Cybercab.
Cybercab,
It's definitely. And was that the idea to take some Cybertruck and infuse it into it?
I mean, it's definitely not very Cybertrucky.
Yeah,
And it's not made of stainless steel. And
I'd
so
say there's a sprinkling of cyber in there.
well, it's like a nice, clean language that we're kind of evolving. And you start to see like how it can be portrayed in something really big like this.
It must have been crazy designing a car without a wheel and pedals and.
That was great. Super liberating.
Yeah, but normally you start with like the package, right? So you're like, oh, head height, seat height.
You always have to put people in it, so that's that's a requirement.
Yeah, but it looks super tiny when they're driving around. It looks quite narrow and short.
I mean, it's super aero efficient too. So
Yeah.
the more aero efficient we can make it, the smaller the battery pack can be, and the right size can get nimble anywhere around in the cities. So
And I'm
it's
definitely-
for two people.
Yeah.
And that's like 90% of all shared rides. So.
Well, me and Harry got in there, and Harry's quite fat, so we were, we had loads of space.
He said it, not me.
But definitely some VW XL1 vibes in there.
It's got its own character, It's like
No, it's cool. It's aerodynamics now. It looks different to everything else.
Good.
Because it is. And the seats, I love them. They're so like soft
lounge,
and like
recline.
reclined, and I was just like,
Why do you have to, if you're not driving and you're not getting thrown around in your car, you should be comfortable.
yeah, I like how Elon was like, and it gives you time back. You could do some work, but really, we're just gonna be on our phones, aren't we? Just like more scrolling
I mean, you
time.
think about it, time is the most precious commodity that we have, right? And so if you can not drive and not waste time doing that and do something else, just phone call, entertainment, if you want to work, you can, gives you time to do something else. So.
Yeah, and 2026, I know Elon's prone to some punchy predictions with timelines. You happy with that? 26?
We'll make it work.
Yeah? Yeah, I mean, you made the Cybertruck work. You can make anything work, right?
Exactly.
All right, I'll let you get back to France.
Great
Thanks,
to see
man.
you.
Great
Yeah,
to bump
yeah,
into you.
I'm glad it worked out.
Take care.
Not yet, but soon.
Am I tripping right now? That's bizarre. Hey Optimus, what do you think of the new Cybercab?
I think it looks very cool.
Yeah, he would say that though, wouldn't he? It's got Tesla written on it.
I'll mic him up.
Bias. So we've just had a conversation with Optimus that seems to just be dad dancing constantly. Won't stop dancing. Tells really bad jokes, but it's freaky because you can ask it questions. It hasn't watched Top Gear apparently, but it's heard it's a really great show.
Have I ever worked Top Gear?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Ah, you need to get into it, Optimus. It's a slightly dorky personality that they've uploaded to Optimus, but it is freaking mind-blowing what's going on there. But it's more real than just like party tricks like this. Elon Musk says you're going to be able to buy one for between $25,000 to $30,000. Not immediately. In Elon Musk timeframes, probably, I don't know, end of this decade kind of thing. And then he predicts that would be the biggest selling, the most widespread product that Tesla or anyone had ever produced, because who wouldn't want a buddy like that? I mean, it's freaky. I don't want a buddy like that. I want a real buddy, a human person. But look, if it can do the washing and fold my clothes and do the ironing, then maybe I can be convinced. But that's come on a long, long way since the last time we saw that robot. Freaky. How does this compare to like those big Apple events? Because obviously I'm not going anywhere near those, but this is where our worlds collide in the biggest way.
This is very chaotic compared to those. Apple's very organized, very neat. This is maybe their most chaotic event ever. You kind of just walk around and find something to do. There's a dinosaur in the back of that Cybertruck. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier in the week, and it's like, are you coming to this? Is your ticket arrived? No.
No idea.
It's literally in 48 hours, and then suddenly.
I booked my flights long before I knew I was going to be here.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. So yeah, no, it is chaotic. You get the idea they've kind of made it up, like what's going on, and then at the last minute, Elon's gone. I know what we need. We need dancing robots serving drinks, and they're like, really? And then they run around.
And you did do the drone show too, right? You got everything set.
You got the email about the drone show.
Yeah, it felt like they just sort of like stapled a bunch of things together.
Yeah.
They showed us the taxi. They then showed us a van.
Yeah.
And then they showed us the robots.
Yeah.
Imagine how cool the future would be if these all existed.
I know.
The end.
The way he like talks about it's kind of infectious though, because he talks with this like total confidence. It's not like we believe that maybe if the market conditions are correct, this might happen. He goes, I can see every household having one of these as a buddy.
This is how it should be.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was like this.
Can you see yourself with Optimus helping you out with your laundry?
Okay, so I've thought a lot about the humanoid robot thing. I don't know if it's the best idea, and I've gotten pushback on this. The world is designed by humans to fit human form, so it makes sense. But what would be wrong with like a box with an arm in it doing all the same tasks? Nothing, right? But it's your friend too? Is that why we want that?
Because we have no friends? And we were talking earlier about, you see they've just got the kind of black visors for a face. Well, imagine if you could stick on like prosthetics of your friends or your own face.
I've heard of a lot of suggestions for things you can stick on the robot. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, there's one over there serving you drinks. So yeah, it's
my biggest thing was okay, like it's doing this little dance move thing here. The pre-rehearsed thing, it's cool, but it's like we've seen that before and it's not as impressive. Reacting to stimulus and like interacting with the world around it, that's way more impressive to me.
Did you have a conversation with
I
them?
will try that.
Yeah, that's really good fun. So I asked it if it watched Top Gear. It said it hadn't, but it liked the show. I was like, all right, very polite. So you can ask it if it's seen your YouTube channel.
I will ask it some questions, yeah. Anybody allowed to touch it, like poke it on the shoulder?
No, so if you ask it for a high five, it goes, I can't do that, but how about an air five? And it kind of goes, and you go, that's kind of awkward. But yeah, so that was that. The Robovan, I mean, kind of straightforward, right? It's like a massive...
Now, have you been to CES?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, so if you ever go to CES in Vegas every January, in like the South Hall, there's a car section, and you will find 30 of those. And it's just a mobility of the future van, which is no steering wheel, no pedals, but there's a bunch of seats inside that all face the middle, and they'll drive you around. Everyone has showed us this at some point. The question is, do we believe Tesla will actually deliver one? And Tesla is maybe in the best position to actually deliver it, but the van was maybe the least interesting thing.
I know, it's bizarre. I mean, if that one thing on its own suddenly appeared on Tesla's website, or now they just spring news on us out of nowhere, you would be like, oh, okay, that's a headline there. But amongst all this, it was just like a kind of throwaway.
No date, no promised range, no specs, just kind of
Just 20
imagine.
seats and a big kind of silver thing. And then, all right, so then we've left the Cybercab for last.
Yes.
Um,
Honestly, do you think it looks good?
I think it looks exactly like the VW XL1. Do you know that? That's like the super aero-efficient hybrid.
Mercedes did an EQXX as well.
There's some EQXX
Similar,
in
silver.
that,
Yeah, I've seen very mixed opinions on how it looks. I think it looks fine. It's like a little baby Cybertruck type thing.
Yeah, kind of thing. So I bumped into, I don't know if you saw Franz, the designer, And I told him it looked like a VW XL1, didn't like that.
He didn't like it?
It's got its own character. I was like, okay, yeah. And I said, oh, so was the idea to kind of shrink the Cybertruck and play with that? He was like, yeah, I don't think it's got that much Cybertruck in it. I was like, are we looking at the same thing? Yeah. I mean, it's not made out of stainless steel.
Right, but all of the ones we've seen are silver. It's got the headlight bar, it's got the taillight bar, and then the trunk is closed so you can't see out the back, just like a Cybertruck when the tonneau cover is closed. I see a lot of baby Cybertruck, personally.
Yeah.
They're doing this thing with the wheel where they've like painted some of the sidewall gold so it looks like a super thin wheel, but it's just a regular low rolling resistance.
That looked like do you know Elon Musk, they were supposed to do this in August, this event, and then it got pushed. And apparently it was because Elon Musk wanted to do some design changes. I reckon he just wanted to get some gold paint and just do all the wheels.
It might have been it. That was the front of the
Delay
car.
the event by 3 months.
No, I think it looks cool. It's smaller from the outside than you would think, but when you get inside, it's 2 seats with a lot of legroom because they sort of push the They push the seating position way back. I think that's smart. Hopefully it has enough storage. I don't think it will have a front trunk, but it should have a big enough rear trunk. So seems interesting.
And it's kind of bizarre because the fact that they're unlocking unsupervised full self-driving on the Model 3s and all those people that tick the full self-driving box.
Finally gonna get
eventually that $5,000 you spend, you're gonna get it back. Allegedly. But that kind of weirdly makes more sense because we were saying, all right, I want to drive myself to work today because I like driving.
Yeah.
Off we go. Or I don't feel like driving, I've got a load of work to do.
So that's where I still land. Like if I was choosing right now, I'd pick the one that I can drive also. But a little part of me wonders if you think far enough into the future, will that become an old-fashioned thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you like driving sometimes. Oh, that's neat. I grew up never driving.
That's cute.
I think that's their argument is it's going to be safer. Totally potentially valid in the future as well. But yeah, to me, it's like if the Model 3 and the Robotaxi have the same capabilities, I'm taking Model 3 every time.
Yeah.
But if you want it to, go drive around and make you money in the background, and you never ever want to drive.
Yeah. But also, some like chassis development's gone into Model 3, right? Especially the latest version. It rides okay, it handles better than before. It's fun to drive. Whereas this, you could just, these are prototypes. We can't judge them on how they drive, but you can just tell that is bottom of the priority list. Yeah. It's just like, make them go forward, don't crash.
To their credit, tech demos are hard, and I've seen a lot of failed tech demos over the years. And if you told me that a company in 2024 would roll out, would have robots walking around serving drinks, would have a drone show, and would have dozens of self-driving cars all doing laps and stopping and not crashing, and there would be no incidents, I'd be very impressed.
No incidents so far.
It's 10:23.
Speaking of which, I need to go and have another go in the Cybercab because it was a crazy, when everyone just descended on it, and they were like, I was like, where's the queue? He's like, you're in the queue. I was like, this is not a queue, it's just a scrum. Yeah. So we had a kind of rushed go in it, but I want to get back in it and go for a proper ride.
Same. I will do that.
Yeah. See you, man.
Good stuff.
And hey, and you're gonna write a column for TG Tech on your reactions to this whole thing.
That's my plan.
Just transcribe what we just done it.
Great to see Marquez, as ever. Just a few more details then on the Cybercab, the Robotaxi, whatever you want to call it, that we picked up by talking to various engineers on the evening. So there is no precise battery size or range figure yet because it's all still being figured out. But Tesla reckons it will be the most efficient EV on the road, returning 5.5 miles per kilowatt hour. A range of around 200 miles is the target, with a small battery to keep costs as low as possible. Hence the prototypes only using inductive charging to keep things as simple as possible, although whether it actually gets a supercharger plug for production is currently a topic of hot debate.
It's been a very bizarre day. There's now a brass band coming over my shoulder just as I'm doing my outro. But hey, that just caps it off. We've seen the future of autonomy, we've seen robots serving drinks, and now I'm gonna go for another ride in the Cybercab just to chill out and relax. I'm gonna have a beer because I'm not driving.